belief.
Yes.
But we won't.
Nope.
Hello, everybody.
I'm going to say that what happens when The Rock has to go pee? Dwayne says Johnson.
I hate you so much.
Get ready to laugh out loud with Wise and Nerdy, the show hosted by two hilarious dads who are bringing their unique blend of wit, wisdom, and nerdiness to the airwaves. From sharing hilarious anecdotes about their own experiences to giving advice on navigating the ups and downs of life, these two dads have got you covered. But that's not all. They're also obsessed with all things nerdy, from comic books and sci-fi movies to video and board games. So whether you're a fellow dad, a pop culture fanatic, or just in need of a good laugh, tune in to Wise and Nerdy and join in the fun.
Oh, it was supposed to be fun. I believe my longtime soon-to-be ex-friend Hammond lied to me and said that I was pretty confident that bringing you in, you're a tag team with me on hating dad jokes.
No. Don't you listen to Soundography? I live and die by the dad joke.
I don't listen.
No, see, that's the secret. He doesn't listen to Soundography.
Yeah, well,
I don't listen to anything. I have heard
other friends of his listen to Soundography and like the show a lot.
We all have friends who make mistakes, but I also have Soundography poker chips.
Yeah, I made that mistake.
All right, everybody, that's Hammond Chamberlain. He is JHammondC everywhere on the internet, Soundography, and a bunch of other crappy shows. So he's here tonight to be wise and nerdy with us, and his studio always looks better than anybody else's because why not? Why not? Over there's Joe_R, who's dancing with his camera.
That's right. Lots of fun. I like my new toy.
And Kurt.
What?
Yeah, it's good to have him on a button again tonight. Kurt's always here. Sometimes it's on the button, and sometimes it's in our faces. It's up to you in the podcast to imagine which one.
How come you've decided to blur out the Hulk? Is he naked or something?
Thank you, Hammond. No, since Kurt is speciest.
I specifically blurred out because it's Charles's favorite character.
It is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that, Charles.
Yep.
That lets me down.
It's the question.
It's
you know what?
Question of the week.
Thank you, Mike. No. Hashtag thank you, Mike. That's what it is. All right, boys. What this is when we pre-load this question, Joe?
Yes, this is
All
the
right.
first one of the
This is
ones
the
we've
first
announced ahead of
preloaded.
time.
We've been trying something new over the last couple of weeks where we announce about 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time what the question of the week will be, so you have time to call in on the speak pipes and join in on the conversation. And we actually have a speak pipe about this question, and it is: what has been the most influential movie of your life? And so we want to go roundtable first, Joe. We want to get cousin Mike on here. What do you want to do?
We can start with cousin Mike. That's fine. Let's do it.
Hey guys, cousin Mike here, calling in. I'm not dead. It's gonna be my catchphrase now. But anyways, calling in about the question of the week, and just have to say it's Treasure Planet.
Okay.
Even though I hate Disney, Treasure Planet is the most influential movie in my life. Just because it was the inspiration that inspired me to just stop caring what other people tell you can or can't do. I have dyslexia, and it's pretty bad, but I also have a rare tandem condition called dysgraphia, where I have trouble writing physically, like actually writing. Like I will write half of one sentence and then start writing half of another sentence because my brain's gone past where I write. But anyways, the movie told me, Treasure Planet, you have a goal, you have a dream you want to achieve, you want to do something, do it. You can do it. It's totally possible. Doesn't matter what anyone else tells you. And I'm doing pretty good for myself. I mean, I recently bought a house, all that stuff. But growing up, my grandma had a VHS tape copy of it. I would watch it every Sunday on repeat all Sunday long. Anyways, yeah, Treasure Planet, best movie. Go watch it. Disney hates it, but I love it. See ya.
There's quite a few movies that Disney has basically shuffled under the rug and completely ignored. like Black Cauldron. A lot of people don't even know about Black Cauldron.
The black hole.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
starting to see a trend in the titles they don't like.
All right, no, Cameron, it's let's break that news.
Oh, man.
So, what about you, Hammond?
For me, okay, so it would be easy for me to say Star Wars because I saw it when I was in first grade or second grade, and it changed the way I saw storytelling and in imagination. I could easily say something like, Army of Darkness or something like that because it's my favorite movie of all time. But I'm actually going to say it's The Amazing Mr. Blunden. It's a 1973 British movie, kind of a ghost story. And it's one of the few things that I've carried throughout my entire life. And even as I've moved into podcasting, I've interviewed people who worked on that film. And so it's something that I'm still very much attached to and still revisit at least once a year, if not twice.
Kurt, you made a face like you recognized that.
No,
movie.
no, I didn't recognize it at all, which is why I made the face. It's like, oh, cool, a movie I haven't heard of because it's not usually one of the ones that you hear about from people. So
Yeah, it's a very, very good little ghost story about redemption and kind of fixing the wrongs in your life. And it stays. Also, another really good one. It's not really a good movie, but great book. And that's not what we're talking about. So I won't say anything. How's that?
Perfect.
I don't know.
Charles doesn't read. I guess I'll just jump in. So the one for me is actually 12 Angry Men.
Okay.
Which also happens to be my favorite movie of all time.
That is a fantastic movie.
Yeah. And not that weird remake with Tony Danza in the 90s. But the original with Lee J. Cobb and Henry Fonda and Jack Klugman and Ed Begley Sr. I mean, again, my favorite movie. So at one point I had like half the autographs of all of the cast because the other half was dead. It's a great movie, and I've watched it recently. I actually about 6 months ago I did the Wait You Haven't Seen with Travis, and he hadn't seen it, and it just holds up, and frankly holds up today as well as any time of America's history.
I actually worked on a production of that. I've worked on a couple productions of that when I was younger doing theater stuff. So
yeah,
it's really well, when it's done well on stage, it actually carries, I think, a little bit more oomph.
Yeah, I bet. Unlike that weird Tony Danza one. So yeah, it just, and it really speaks to prejudice and taking things at face value versus looking into what the possibilities are, and gives you that maybe I should question kind of everything. And it's awesome. It's just great. And so I try to view things through that lens a lot.
Makes me feel pretty stupid for mentioning Army of Darkness now. So
everybody needs a boomstick.
You got ugly real fast. Joe.
I mean, there's a ton, but I think the one I'm going to go with is Tron as one of the most influential movies in my life. It was such a different everything. Like Tron was a trendsetter for a lot of things. One of the first to really lean into CGI like that, so much so that it was discounted for a lot of different awards because of the CGI. But it also sparked my interest in computers in a big way. And now I'm a programmer. Like it had a huge influence on computers and their role in my life. And so for that reason, I'm going to go with Tron. I know what Charles's is. Charles's is definitely Pokemon the first movie, because that's where he learned you got to be the very best, and that's been his motto his entire life. That's why he goes by the moniker Rock God, because of Pokemon.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the animated Transformers film.
Too soon, man. Too soon, man.
Nah.
We got the power.
Oh, the last unicorn. That's it. I knew it. Charles loves the last unicorn.
No, he looks like a legend guy to me.
Okay, all
That's
right.
all right, that's a deep cut, Hammond. All right. Legend was you shut your mouth about Legend. That's good stuff. There's been lots of different movies that really impacted me and affected me. And I wanted to kind of start off with a joking bit, but Joe ham-fisted that up. So I was gonna say Leap of Faith with Steve Martin, Leap of Faith. You see, where he's just give me a word to work in during this whole thing. Vital sighting, and he's the preacher on the stage. Yeah, but no, honestly, the most pivotal movie that changed the course of my life was The Matrix, and I came in from a deep religious background, and I could see, and it was just an allegory that just opened. No, I've never watched that random kid Left Behind with Kirk Cameron and all that. I know what it is.
But you know who's in it actually scares me. I think that tells me you have watched it.
Going back to the real story they told, deep Baptist religious background. I know who Frank Peretti is. I know the Left Behind series. I know all that crap. I was there when VeggieTales was invented. All right. So look, but I could see the cracks in reality for me. It's like this A and B are not adding up. And The Matrix was just this. I hadn't really seen any previews for it. I kind of knew a little bit about it, and I happened to be in another state in a weird situation, and took some people to the movies. Like I was looking after these teenagers. It's a long story. Yeah, I know, Kurt, shut it. But they wanted to go see something dumb. I don't know what it was. Like, you know what? I'm not going to that. I'm gonna go over to The Matrix because it's about the same runtime, starts about the same time. I'll meet you out here in the lobby after. It's the only time I've ever gone to the movie by myself for any reason, and it just cracked open, and the whole allegories behind it, right? The stuff behind The Matrix. The movie itself is a kung fu ammo loving great movie, but it is very much the theory behind it, and it had me question life and change everything. And it's kind of like what Joe, you were saying about our no, Hammond, what you were saying about people can't tell you who you are and this and that you can't do something and so on. It's just a different little vein of that. So Kurt, you look so confused.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I thought you were going to go somewhere else with it, and you didn't. You just leaned into kung fu ammo.
I thought you were going to tell me that you learned how to do a deep back bend.
Yeah, like you do.
Like one does. I mean, I am Neo and Morpheus at the same time, if that helps. But it is all there. A Christ figure cucumber. Wait, whoa! I am missing stuff in the chat. The chat's going a little sideways over here.
No, because random kid said Charles is afraid he doesn't want to eat his vegetables because he's worried about eating one of his VeggieTales friends. So I responded, "Yeah, Christ figure cucumber."
Wow.
I will also say unpopular opinion. And I know it's unpopular. I'm in the minority. Is Tron is only good for putting me to sleep.
Wow. All right.
And I feel the same way about Blade Runner. All the versions of Blade Runner.
Whoa.
Come on. Hit Hogwarts. Tell them how Harry Potter and Star Wars is just a Star Wars ripoff. Come on.
Oh, it is, but it's a good Star Wars ripoff.
Yeah.
It's better than Star Blast or some of the other
hit now Punch on the Rings and talk about it's just about walking and only morons watch it.
Which one?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, well, never mind. I won't talk about Lord of the Rings. I don't like the two towers, but I do like.
Is that why they fell?
Third.
Joe got it.
Roll that dice.
All right. Well, tonight's bad jokes and bad stories are coming to you by the letter X and the number. What is that? 5?
We're gonna go with 4 on
4,
this one.
The number 4, which would be Jameson Black Barrel 80 with an IW, and I have to look at what the IW means. It doesn't say what it means. So
it's the Roman. Never mind.
No, it's not.
No,
it's not.
No, and it's a family show. All right, so let's go.
Council of Dads.
Oh no! We're gonna start out with the tough one, baby. Okay, dokie. Parliament of Papas. What? This is Joe brought this in.
I sure did.
Wow, we went with this one to start. All right. What punishments? You know what, Joe? You do it. You do it.
All right. All right.
This is deep, man.
So lately, I've been hearing different news articles about how there are still schools in the U.S. that, well, they either are still allowing corporal punishment, paddling and whatnot, or they have re-allowed it. And so the question was, what punishments should a school be allowed to perform? And I should preface, all of the news articles that I've seen, it has to be with the parents' permission. But even then, thought it would be a great discussion to have. So Charles, what do you think?
So welcome to the show, Hammond, where we keep it light and fun throughout the whole day.
I feel like I feel like I should be wearing clown makeup or something to help lighten the mood.
All right. So Joe, this is not a good one. When I first started getting my kids into school, I was of the mindset that they need discipline, that they need guidance, but I was also of the mindset it'd be kind of a partnership between the parent and the teacher. I'm like, I'll give you permission, depending on what, up to essentially paddling at the time. I believed in paddling back then at that point. But the first fallacy was that, in my opinion, and this can be controversial, whatever, but the first fallacy is that paddling works. I don't believe it works, but we can talk about that later. Second fallacy is that any parent is going to be allowed to be a partner with the school. It is such a load of crap. And quite honestly, I think the whole entire school system needs to be torn to the ground and rebuilt.
Different topic, man. Different topic.
I know.
Stay on target.
I think Joe did it, man. Joe did it.
I agree with Charles full-heartedly on that. It was established in the early 20s to establish conformity and compliance. It wasn't to invoke imagination and growth. And I think it does need to be burned down. And I do think it needs to be revamped for.
I am not arguing that point at all.
But it is a different topic.
It's just a different topic.
Oh, I know. I'm just backing up Charles because I felt like he was on an island there for a second. So
Lonely Island.
Used to it.
I am used to it. Thank you. But it is hard to get to that point of, if everything is so messed up. I don't know, because I am an involved parent. That pissed the school off, right? I wanted parent-teacher meetings. I wanted to go in and review the homework. I wanted to know how to help him better at home. My oldest son, that's where we broke ground with all the schools was him. I wanted to work with people. Okay, I understand you don't paint in broad strokes. Broad strokes. You don't paint broad strokes.
That's an ANTP joke for those paying attention.
Yeah, you don't paint in broad strokes. But in my experience, 80% of the teachers I have met in my kids' school careers are freaking morons. But then you flip that to where parents think it should be free babysitting. It's too complicated, Joe. I don't know. I am not happy with any punishment because they don't know how to do it equally and balanced to every kid. And they're so afraid of a lawsuit and bad press that's literally, oh, Joe, you're making me angry, man. I'm blurring that Hulk. I'm blurring the Hulk. I'm wearing my green. Because there was a girl the last day, my daughter who just turned 18 yesterday, the last day she went to high school, was this bully who'd been messing with her in school threatened to get the lazy, fat piece of crap security guard's gun and shoot my daughter. And she said it in the lunchroom in front of a bunch of people. And they suspended her for a little bit to do the investigation. And then when I was taking my daughter back, of course, we pulled her out of school immediately and talked to the school, blew it up. And it's like, no, this is no. And you don't get to just kick it down the road. You got to deal with it. They let her back into the school when they said they wouldn't. And then they tried to play. They lie. They play things off. It is worse than politics on spin. So, Joe, thanks for ruining the show.
The schools around here, if someone threatens to bring a gun or have a gun, any mass violence, they're automatically sent to juvie. Like, that's just how it's done here.
Maybe that might be a little overkill depending on the age of the kid. I don't know. But in this case, we thought, no, you're done. You're not going back there. And we lit them up. We got the news involved. It was a mess. And that's where I don't have an answer to what punishment should they be allowed to perform. Because it is not going to be balanced and spread across equally.
I fully trust my kid's teacher to have
your kids are homeschooled. Your kids are currently homeschooled.
You are spot on. And I trust my wife. Conference. I trust my wife with any punishment she wants to dish out.
So I will say that I don't think the school should have any say in punishment because the teachers are biased and they do have favorites and they don't have the training to avoid power struggles. And when you have a kid who's got issues, whether it be dyslexia or some other kind of twice exceptional learning stuff going on, they see that as problematic and troublemaking instead of what it is, which is something that needs to be worked with. And so sometimes they jump to conclusions because they don't have all the information because they're used to teaching and dealing with the most exceptional children and the biggest squeaky wheels. And the middle group doesn't get anything because they're too busy being spread across.
And I like what you mentioned because you said they don't have all of the facts. I remember in middle school, there was one teacher, she was a substitute, and I was sitting there minding my own business, and the girl in front of me, I guess she was having a bad day. She just turned around, grabbed all the stuff on my desk, and hucked it across the room. And the teacher just sent me and that girl to in-school suspension. I'm like, I didn't do anything. And she apologized later because the entire class was like, Joe didn't do anything. And so... yeah, but so many teachers jump to conclusions on what's going on without any facts. So
and also anytime there's a kid who says no or tries to explain something different that's out of the norm, there's a reaction to that because they need everyone to be compliant. And so when you start getting into punishments, it starts becoming personal. It starts becoming power struggly. It starts becoming targeted. Sure. And it's not evenly handled. It's not evenly balanced. It's not equally dispersed. And so for schools to do that, they're actually providing less opportunity and more opportunity for struggles. Like the classroom was a terrible experience for me. I hated being in the classroom, which is why I graduated a year early and I got out of college so fast. But I hated the classroom experiences. My youngest is the same way. She got into a power struggle with a teacher who didn't want her to get up and sharpen her pencils. She's left-handed and liked having a sharp lead so she could be legible still because she's left-handed. And the teacher wouldn't let her do that. So she started breaking the pencils because that way she could get a new pencil that had a sharp tip. Well, then she got in trouble for breaking the pencils. And so my wife's like, how about we bring in mechanical pencils? No, because they're distracting. And it just turned into this big wad of crap. And it was just, it was, schools shouldn't have detention. I get, whatever, that kind of stuff where there's things that happen and you just have to put them and make them do some extra work after class or whatever, fine. But any kind of touching, no. If a school touches my kid, I'm going to come in and they're going to be picking up teeth.
And see, there's that, and I'm got you, Kurt. And I'm gonna give a devil's advocate at the end of this. But Kurt, back in the 20s when you went to school, what was it like?
Yeah, so that was just a couple of years ago.
Sure.
We're
His
still
memory's
in the 20s,
fading, people.
dude.
The 2020s.
No, here's the thing. When I was going to school, there was no corporal punishment. So there was nothing like that. However, there was humiliation. And so
I'm honestly asking, did they still have the dunce cap?
No, but they had things like if you got caught chewing gum, you had to stick it on your nose and wear it around school for the rest of the day.
What?
Yeah, in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, I had teachers that did that.
Yep. So I'm very much it's a very complicated problem.
Yeah.
From
thanks, Joe.
Discipline end of things, but I think a good place to start: no violence, no humiliation. Yeah. That's a good place to start. Like, there's a lot of other things to iron out, but if we start there, that helps a lot.
I think it starts at home because if the kids are being taught respect and taught how to behave certain ways, then they can go into a public setting like a classroom and not be jerks. And I think that's where it starts. Is that
Agreed,
way? Yeah.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if your kid is, in a classroom mucking around on his phone, it's because he's at home at the dinner table mucking around on their phone. And we had rules like no phones at the table. If you sit in the front seat of the car, you're not on your phone. You're engaging in conversation. I mean, there are certain things. And there were times where my kids would opt to sit in the back seat so they could muck around on their phone. And I was fine with that because as long as they weren't sitting in the front, that was fine.
Yep. So we've gone down this road a little bit in other episodes, but one of the things that my sister, who shall not be named, at one point asked me, "How do you get your kids to behave?" Because her kids raised holy heck all over the place and would scream by their main way of communicating was screaming at home. And I simply said, I told my kids no.
Mm-hmm.
And well, how do you get them to follow what you said? I said, there is no choice. I'm the parent. I'm oversimplifying it, obviously, but if you start early, then it isn't difficult.
Oh, and the other part too is even if there are choices, you control the choices. You can say, we want to go to a restaurant out to eat. Which one of these three would you like to go to? All three of them you're okay with. So you don't care what the answer is.
Right. But you control the narrative.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah, but you're talking about giving agency. I think, Kurt, you said the symbol star is no violence, no humiliation. I think we take a step back even further to get started. And as simply as I can put it, draw a line in the sand. You have a choice of schools to go. You can homeschool, you can do whatever. But the line in the sand is if your kid comes here, these are our standards. And you don't get to come and yell and scream and try to bully your way for little Bobby to do it. You also don't get to send your kid here full of bruises and obvious abuse. The line in it's a goal-oriented teaching. Did they make the grade? No. Here's what we're going to do to help them remediate. And I know that's the devil's advocate. That's the caveat. That's the other side of the coin is, the system's overloaded. Yeah, you got the good kids, you got the horrible kids, and the ones in between are getting ignored. You got teachers who want to teach, and the parents and the principal and the system won't let them. And you got teachers who don't give a crap. And I've told the story many times. You got teachers who don't know how to teach, who write wrong problems on the board, then try to hold my kid accountable. But if we step back and start working on accountability, which all this is, you guys are talking about respect, telling them no, following the rules. If we just did that and told the parents, you have two options. You let them come here, and these are the rules, and this is what we're going to do. We do not care. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, anything. Doesn't matter, boy, girl. Doesn't matter. Human being comes here, they learn. Oh, we have ways to identify that learning method doesn't work. We're going to give them we're going to get the resources. I know that's a unicorn. It's an imaginary thing in the school system. We're going to get them the help they need and not just go, all right, everybody, one size fits all up to the next grade. But it is that kind of, I've seen that bully's parent was in there fighting for her because her daughter was innocent. Her daughter had been kicked out of 3 other schools for the same thing. And they kept moving the problem down the line instead of doing something to help this girl who still could be helped, who might someday either just live a miserable life or actually kill somebody, right?
So
we can help her, and we're not.
I spent the better part of 10 years working with troubled adolescents who were, drug addicts, gang members, criminals, all kinds of stuff. And they were in locked facilities because they were a danger to people and themselves. And, when they'd first come in, the expectations were hard for them to kind of live and guide by because they hadn't had any or didn't listen, or they weren't made to listen. A couple months in, things start to calm down, and then they learned all the stuff that was good, and they were clean and happy and healthier, and they'd eaten, and all the things were going better for them and getting good grades. And then we'd release them back to their parents, and 6 months later, they were right back where they started, or I'd end up seeing them when I worked in jail. So, I mean, it was just, it's systemic when it comes to like accountability at home, but it's also systemic when it comes to accountability just in the world in general.
Yeah. Joe,
Yeah,
I'm gonna push-
I just want to say one more thing. I'm sorry. I agree with 90% of what everybody has kind of come to the conclusion on. I was just trying to stay within the confines of the question.
Well,
This is why we
you
only
were
let
playing
you
the
come
rules.
twice a month. You only
Yeah,
get to come
rules
back-
suck. There's no,
Yeah.
we're not listening to any rules.
Yeah. Look, you do that again, Kurt, and I'll just tell everybody. You know, I can't tell. that
I'll make you wear gum on your nose next time you follow a rule.
There you go. We're gonna send you the.
Let's see how that works out.
Now, Joe, you cheater. I'm gonna flip it back on you.
Okay.
What punishments should the church be allowed to do when your kids are there in their custody while you're off it? I'm assuming you'll have like a kids' church while you do the big people church and all that jazz and camps and whatnot.
I mean, they just come and get the parents. That's
Okay.
what that's what our church does.
Don't ask a
And I
question you
appreciate
can't
that.
answer, sir. This is not how this goes, son.
I don't know how other churches work, but that's
I have
what my
a, I have
church
a very
does.
I have a very cynical answer that I'm not going to say.
What if they're at camp? You have no scenario where your children are not with you or family.
What about like girls' camp? Do you have girls? What happens at girls' camp?
I've got boys, but yeah, my son has gone to an overnight camp, and there is one leader that I'm good friends with that I say just text me if he's acting up and consult with me.
This is a new 1%er, y'all. He might not have the billions that puts him in that number, but he sure has the privilege.
Well, so I
everybody,
think
just tell me my kids being bad. I'll take care of it.
no. So I think that's a good lesson in general, is to know who your kids are going to be with so that you can communicate when there's an issue. So, you know, rail on me as much as you want about the
Always.
one being a 1%er, but
You listen to the show.
but I think that's a very important thing in your kid's life in general, is to know who they're going to be around and to have a repertoire with them.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that goes with teachers. I think it goes with friends. I mean, when we had our kids were going over to people's homes, we didn't just send them blindly. My wife or I came over and met the parents and hung out with them for a while and got to know the parents so that we understood what the environment was we were leaving them. And if the environment was kind of squirrely, we didn't leave them.
Yeah, I hear that. Joe, spell repertoire.
R-E-P-toire.
Roll that dice.
Oh my God.
All right. It's your favorite.
Dad jokes are like Mojo
We
Jojo.
burned
They're
that.
bad.
Y'all have already preloaded so many.
I don't
No.
like dad jokes. What are you talking about?
I hate you so much.
All right. Here we go. We've got one where I read I said a bad dad joke to Jebediah, and you can hear his reaction.
All right.
So, do you know why Star Wars came out 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
You do know.
Because it was easy to make and it was pixelated.
Oh, okay. But the real answer is because Yoda was in charge of scheduling.
Okay.
Oh, I love Jebediah. Thank you. Jebediah, Morpheus the third. Hard the third.
Okay.
Love you, man.
Okay.
Sure, Dad. Whatever. Love you, buddy. Love you. That's the best. Okay. Of course, then they call us old. That was easier because it's pixelated. What? What? How do you even know that word, son? Who taught you to say stuff like that? That's spelled pixelated. Pixelated.
Oh, man. All right. We've got a couple more bad dad jokes from Devocite.
Did you know that Michael Jackson loved to go to the mountains? He loved to ski.
No, I've heard that one.
All right. And here's
Hammond,
another one.
You're not laughing,
Devocite.
Hammond.
Because that one wasn't really that great.
None of yours
Well,
were
no,
either.
it was good for Devocite.
Okay. All right. Again, context.
What did
All right. You ready?
Yeah, no.
What did Bruce Willis say when he got a vasectomy?
Oh, come on, no.
Snippy Kayema. You know the rest of it.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh, are we done? Cool. Roll that dice.
I mean, we can do more if you want. You want some more?
No.
All right.
Hammond like hammered like 15 right before we started the show.
Oh, I can do a full tight 10 on just eggs.
Oh no, sir.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I would like to hear some.
Oh, it breaks people up.
It cracks people up.
It scrambles them up, and it just leaves them with a bright, sunny side up day.
If you work this hard at your podcast, stop it, Kurt. If you work this hard at your podcast, I might actually listen.
Wow.
Yoke's on you, Charles.
Roll that dice.
I'm gonna let that one go.
Roll that dice.
How do I get Joe to stop telling the worst puns? Oh no. Wait, okay. I think I do know. I think I wrote this one.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so I'm kind of bad at writing short topics. It needs explanations, but the topic is, how do I joke or mess with my family? That'd be for each of you. And the idea is like, what's kind of your go-to do it? Like here, it is very much sarcasm and brutal wit. And it is the to a point, the quicker the joke, but that's also a bit mean, is the best joke. And those win. And that's how we play here without, and we make sure like, oh no, that joke was too far. You don't make it personal. You don't get like truly mean. It's just that was fast. And like I've always told the example of when Zoe was 7, I think, me and her mom were going back with our jokes or whatever. And I don't remember what I said. It's like, no old ladies at all. And my daughter, without even hesitating at 7, turned around and went, "Hey, it's not nice. Mama's right there." I was like, oh, so that's how we do it in my household. How do you guys, what's your go-to thing to mess with your family members?
That's actually very, very similar to me and my siblings, is we do the same thing, although we often cross the line. we toe that line. Closer to the line, the better.
Sideways is okay. When you're working with children up and down, you got to teach them. There are lines.
Yes. But yeah, with my kids, it's definitely a much softer jibing, but it's still along those same veins. But yeah, and it's a lot of dad jokes like, "I'm hungry. Hi, hungry. I'm dad." It's your favorite, Charles. Dad jokes.
I'm going to put in your next contract, which renews in 2025, that every time you go over 3 dad jokes, you pay me $5.
I'd be broke. And then a lot of the other stuff is just heavy sarcasm that my boys are finally understanding, but for the longest time they didn't get sarcasm at all. And Jebediah definitely still doesn't really get sarcasm. But yeah, it's a lot of jibes.
Hammy?
Let's see. There's a fair amount of just flat out. Well, my mother-in-law does what we call the complissalts, which are these really backhanded compliments, but they're also kind of insulting at the same time. Things like, "Your hair looks pretty good for that color," or whatever. I mean,
that's just mean though.
She's very good at what we call the complissalts. There's a lot of just flat teasing about things. When the kids were learning how to talk, both my niece and nephew and both my daughters were learning how to talk, we'd say things like, "What does a cow say?" And they say moo. And they say, "What does a dog say?" And they'd say woof woof. And they say, "What does Nana say?" And they're like, "I love you." And then they'd say, "What does Uncle Hammond say?" And like, bad jokes.
Nice. What about like with your wife? There's
a lot of teasing. I mean, we were driving by this farm once, and it was filled with horses, and there's a little Shetland pony running around in there. And I said, "I wonder what they call a Shetland pony." And my wife turned around and said Hammond, because I'm short.
Man, the other night I laid into my wife a little bit because my daughter came through the door and there's a rack of stuff next to the door. Above it in the vaulted ceiling was some kind of bug stuck in something. So when my wife looked at her, she saw the bug. Yeah, that's it. Sure. We called it Hammond too. It was small. But it was, she saw it. She says, you didn't take care of that. She'd asked me the night before to like get it or whatever, because it's high up. And my daughter from her angle couldn't see it. All she saw was the solid rack. She's like, what? She was that. And my wife just went that. And she goes, my daughter goes, it's a box. And I just lit into my wife for a good minute and a half set of how dumb she was. Of course, it's a box. We're not moving the box. And Zoe didn't know why it was funny, but she joined in and we just tag teamed that one. But what about you, Kurt? What is your go-to? You got some grandbabies now, which I know will be the bad granddad. I mean, they're not even old enough to mess with, but you got grown-up kids. What's your joking style?
Well, so it was very much sarcasm when the kids were growing up and whatnot. Things have changed. I don't really joke around with them as much anymore, mainly because
they'll come back at you.
No, God, I
You
wish.
finally got it out of your system
Have
after
you
so many
listened to
years.
this show? Kurt can put up with me. He can handle this kid.
No, so that'd be great, but they just don't play like that anymore. And my wife is disabled, so she doesn't do anything like that, and I can only go so far without feeling bad. So I save all of my busting for my buddies.
For Charles?
And well, you know.
You're assuming he thinks he's a buddy.
He said friends.
Right. So and it really is just our term is everyone gets a turn in the barrel. And if you're in the barrel, you just got to ride it out.
Oh, and let me tell you, when the barrel has 4 other monkeys with this idiot, it is not a fun barrel.
No, yeah. Well,
Sea of Thieves, sir. Sea of Thieves.
Look, man.
No.
You reap what you sow.
I won't play that game. I won't play that game anymore, ever again. It was a really, really rough night.
Is that the one where you lit the whole cargo hold on fire full of
that
wax
was
powder?
an accident. Nobody taught me how to play the game.
Yeah, well, and he blew up the boat. He didn't tell you that he blew up the boat.
It was an accident. I didn't know what buttons to hit. I didn't know what to do. Yes, I lit a keg on fire and it blew up the boat. And then all they did was keep putting me in the brig for the next hour and a half.
So that's how they were messing with you. Got it.
Yeah.
So my brother-in-law came from a family of 4 brothers, and their messing with each other was brutal. Like my brother-in-law used to get folded up inside of a sleeper sofa and left for hours.
And that doesn't seem like this group here at all. Like, left for out, that's abuse. That's not good. But coming up through EMS and fire, there's some really okay pranks and there's some really brutal pranks. And I remember getting woken up. I was in a twin bed in a bunk room, and I'm flying through the air. Next thing I know, because a couple guys grabbed the mattress and just yanked it off the bed with me on it. That is not a fun. And of course they ran because they knew it was gonna be a bad day. But like, that's not a fun way to wake up when you've run calls all night and got 2 hours of sleep. But there was times where there was like KY jelly on the door handles or something. That's funny.
I had a guy once fall asleep on stage when I was building sets, and so we had another person sit on him, and I stapled his pants to the stage with a staple gun. So he had to take his pants off to get off the stage.
That's pretty good.
Charles, you mentioned the firehouse. A friend of mine was a volunteer firefighter, and one of the newbies thought it would be a good idea as a prank to open the hose as he was coming around the side of the door, and wasn't even thinking about how much pressure those fire hoses put out, and it hit him full on in the face, and he had burns from the pressure of the fire hose, and he had to go to the hospital. Yeah, no, it was not good. So prank responsibly, people.
It's all fun and games until someone gets their face blown off by water.
Right. I mean, to that line, there was a thing in the field at the time. It was nitro paste, nitroglycerin. It drops your blood pressure by opening up your veins. It's for heart pain and those kind of things. And most time nowadays, it's pills and for patients, and sometimes on ambulance, and sometimes we can actually do an IV with it if we needed to. but they had this paste because you could wipe it off. It's transdermal, all that jazz. Some idiot medic put nitro paste. Unfortunately, it was so far expired, it didn't do. It can kill you. I mean, it can kill you. And he put it on door handles and stuff. And that was one of those days where the boss comes in and sits everybody down. I was like, okay, this is going too far. And this is why he's not working here anymore. Because you should know, like that firefighter, Joe, you don't touch things you don't know about in his case. And if you do know about it, you should have known never to do that. But we did have a 1-inch gap under the bathroom door in the bay. It's a weird it was almost like an outhouse, but it's in the bay. It's weird. But if somebody started running their mouth too much whenever they go to poop, you just take the water hose up under the door and spray. They're like a garden hose, not a fire hose, a garden hose. And just spray up. I mean, there's some fun pranks. There's some fun stuff.
I mean, if it's that big, you could slide a firecracker right under there.
Oh, that happened. Yep. That happened. People would be in the shower, and because the door, I mean, it had a lock, but it was a crappy door. And so you take a big cooking pot so that it wouldn't burn anything in the actual bathroom, and throw firecrackers in it and slam the door. And they're like, "Why'd you do?" And it just blows up and all the smoke. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So to Kelsey's point, we actually have a family rule that says you don't make family tap. My nephew did wrestling, and my oldest daughter did wrestling, and my brother-in-law did wrestling, and there's a lot of that kind of play. So we actually have a phrase in the family that says you don't make family tap.
Now that's an interesting thing you put up on
good.
this. Yeah, Joe. It's unfair too. But Joe, you said your wife said you and your 3 boys will joke and play with each other, but when it gets too far, they wrestle, hit, or kick. My rule of my house was if you dish, you got to take it. And if you hit, what first rule was no closed fist ever. It's always an open hand. And the second, even out of nature, when they're young, the second they went, it came to a complete stop. Like, you open that hand, or you're going to timeout. Because it wasn't an anger thing, but I'm trying to teach them how to balance that.
Told us not to kick the baby.
I'm dyslexic. I thought it told us to kick the baby.
I think the one of the key factors of whether or not it's a good prank or good joking with someone is whether it develops into a story that you tell later on.
All right. Is everybody truly laughing and enjoying themselves?
Oh, in the moment, it may not matter.
Okay, so let's go back to the Dragon Con then, the Hodor story. Is that funny? Do you tell that story in a laughing manner?
I do tell that story. At the time, it was like, oh my God, stop already. But yeah, the bit went too far, and I about fell off the stage. So
I don't know the story. Yeah.
So Charles was doing a panel, and for some reason, at some point, the word came out that every time.
Sorry, not just a panel. I'm on the stage with Archie Kearns, her husband, TV writer and awesome guy, another comedian actor, and me, because I'm friends with Audrey. So I'm on this nice big panel, and yes, somewhere. Go ahead.
Somehow the word came out that every time Hodor is said anywhere, Charles has to take a drink
for that panel.
For that panel. Yeah. And so every question for the Q&A started with Hodor. Every time it came up on Twitter, because they're taking quick Twitter questions, Charles had to take a drink.
That is a popular show. They had a lot of people come on Twitter. And all
it was some sort of Star Trek show they were doing. And, and I mean, Charles had a rough hour. Like I was scared for him for that hour, but I was also playing along because I'm like, I don't drink.
Hammond's on the board going, hey, we got another Twitter one. I'm like, no, we don't have it. Like, got you, buddy. No worries. We got another Twitter one. And you just make it up. And it's like, at JHammondC says Hodor. I'm like, that's you. And it's Joe's back when we had risers there. And I mean, it's only a 4-foot riser.
Yeah. I mean,
but it got to the point when I'm laughing, I lean over and Scrimshaw, I can't remember his first name, but Scrimshaw was the guy next to me. And as he senses, as I'm losing my balance going off, he just kind of grabs me and pulls me back in. And I was like,
so that you can drink some more.
Exactly. He's like, he goes, and everybody
hold on there, Hodor. I'm trying to save you. Oh, sorry.
Basically, something like that. Like, okay, Hodor. Like, you son of a bitch. Oh, I can't say that here, but I said it there. Yeah, it was. And I got off the stage, and I got to the front rows as far as I could get. Oh, Joe, by the way, this is like 2:00 on a Sunday afternoon. It was not like a 10 p.m. panel. It was and thank you, Rando Kid. You're right. And I'm half laying in the front row because I'm not going anywhere else. The next panel comes on, Hammond. They don't play the Hodor because I'm like, no, nobody else. Audrey Kearns is the only one. But they got me to come back up on the stage and started feeding me the crappy sodas and stuff. Like, oh my God. Learn my lesson. You have to draw limits with bits.
Did you?
I mean, you were at the roast. I walked back to my hotel after the roast. So
That's true. You did. That's true. You did.
I learned some lessons. Okay, I learned how to manage the bit. What'd you say earlier, Kurt? We got to control the narrative. We give them the 3 options. We don't let them pick all of it.
Yeah. He doesn't learn them quickly. He just does learn them.
Yeah.
Always question what's in the drink before taking the free drink.
What's in the drink?
Oh, and that's the other part of it, though. It wasn't something lightweight like a beer or anything. It was like some Romulan ale knockoff thing. It was.
Yeah, it was liquor.
Yeah, it was. They weren't messing around.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. That was a better story than I was going to end on. So roll the dice, Joe. But yeah, there are definitely times I told you. So I remember it. It's a blast. But at the time, I had fun, but it was rough.
What are you nerding out about?
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get you, Hammond, the link to the note so you can.
I'm looking at it.
Are you in it? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. You took care of that. So, Joe, you always like to go first.
Sure.
Which anime is it this week?
Yeah.
It isn't.
Wait. I got you one, Kurt. I saw the ad for it yesterday, and I almost sent it to Joe because this is the kind of anime I like. Started January, and it's about an administrative assistant who works at a Heroes Guild filing paperwork because she just wanted an easy job, but she's having to work all this overtime because, and I'm not kidding, this is the premise. She has to work all this overtime because the heroes aren't closing dungeons. So at night, she goes and closes the dungeon, fights it like a hero until she gets caught by the master hero. And it's titled, I was an administrative assistant so I could have an easy job and not have to close dungeons or something like that. I mean, it's so on the nose to the description. So it's not what Joe's going to watch. So I didn't see, but I mean, it is something I'm a stupid jerk. Sorry. There's a guy with a small little wee down the street revving his truck. Joe, what is he?
Okay, oddly enough, you're the only one who can hear that, so it actually makes you sound super nuts.
Oh, okay.
It's just in your head.
Through my open window and all day.
It's the little man in your head.
Especially this part.
Oh, all right.
All right, Joe.
So the anime is Oshi No Ko, which is my favorite idol, and it was season 2 that just wrapped up.
We got to play the game.
All right.
Hammond, I know you've heard a few of the episodes. I don't know if you heard all of them. We don't always do this game. Oshi No Ko, also known as my favorite idol, from the title, wrong answers only. What is this anime about?
Probably going to be about volleyball.
Oh, okay.
All right. Kurt?
It's about the journey into searching pagan idols from other gods and which one you find most attractive.
Honestly, that might be something Joe watches. My favorite, I think it's about a teenage character who's sneakier than a mega church preacher at Pappy's Moonshine Still.
Okay.
It makes as much sense as anything else, Kurt. Don't give me that face.
Fair enough. I can't argue with it. Yeah.
So I don't want to give hardly any spoilers because they're even if I talked about the first episode, it'd be pretty big spoilers. But it is, it follows an idol group, and the main character
American
is actually
Japanese. What
Japanese.
Kind of idol group? Okay.
A Japanese idol group, teenage idol group.
But you missed the joke.
Yeah.
American Idol.
I don't know. I got a joke. That's what I was asking. Is it? What do you mean by idol?
Yeah.
Singer.
Okay.
All
right.
So Jim and the Holograms?
Teenage singer group. The main character is actually an actor who is the brother of one of the idols. But that is just the loose skin of the entire anime because what it actually is.
Kurt just had a surgery. Come on.
what it actually is a mystery thriller anime, with that just being the setting, and so it had a lot of twists and turns this last season. It's already been renewed for a third season, and I posted a GIF in our Discord of one of the scenes from the first episode of a couple of babies of an idol who are dancing and waving around glow sticks. So it's got some fun moments like that, funny moments like that, but it at its core, it is a mystery anime, and it's actually got a lot of dark undertones to it.
So I'm going to bring this up. What was that, an off topic? What room was that posted in, Joe?
It was in anime.
Anime, got it. All right, so I'm going to show you here.
Oh, you're going to show
on the screen
GIF?
because there's this is Joe's brain. All right.
My
I
brain.
wish we were on drugs. That would explain a lot, but no, this is just Joe's brain. Okay, so boom, there it is. It is literally two little kids with no context. Two little kids sitting in a double stroller, just flipping these glow sticks. And Joe says,
nailing the choreography.
Well, yeah, okay. Joe says, just watch the Oshi No Ko season 2 finale, and I'm super excited that season 3 has already been announced. At RGOP, don't let the visual fool you. This anime is actually a mystery show full of twists and intrigues.
Yeah, the mystery
And then
is why
you
the
see-
kids know the choreography so well.
Yeah, you have these little babies doing some choreography and this weird guy staring at them. And then all I can say is like, yeah,
So
looks
I
like
mean,
it. Sure.
if you want a relatively mild spoiler that happens within the first little tidbit, those kids are
Let me guess. They're magic kids that help them write music.
they're reincarnated, and
You got it. That is close.
Close enough.
and
Close enough.
they were born to their favorite idol. So their mom is who they were super fans of. So they know the choreography and whatnot of her idol show.
Why does the guy in front have a sneaker growing out of his armpit?
I will have to look at it again and see. Oh, it's because it's the crowd behind it.
Oh, that wasn't obvious.
Yeah, so it's panning up to, and you end up seeing the rest of the crowd in the actual anime, just not in the GIF. But
Says
Bait
these are
switch.
dangerous children. I'll just say it, Joe. You're not selling it with the one you chose. It's about mystery and intrigue.
okay,
And magic and woohoo, woohoo.
I mean, if you don't mind spoilers, I'll share some later off camera. I'll share some GIFs with you that show some of the dark tones.
I can honestly say that I'm okay with spoilers because I know I'm not going to watch this.
Well, and it's not for everyone. Like I talked to my brother about it. He's like, I gave it a try, but I dropped it. I'm like, that's fair. Your tastes can be very different from mine. That's fine, and that's okay.
You know what is interesting is a lot of people will only recommend stuff they like, right? But that's fine. I can go, oh, well, let's get a broad spectrum of anime, food, games, so I get an idea of what you like to see where my values lie, and I can gauge it that way. Joe doesn't do that. Joe actually, once he gets to know you, go, I think you would like this one, and I will say every time he's advised me that, hey, I think you will actually like this one, I have liked it. Other than Steins Gate, and only because I can't, you just have to read the screen, and I don't have time in my life to read the screen, but it looks interesting.
There's a dubbed version.
I'll have to look in. I was on Crunchyroll.
So I have a question for you though, since you're an anime connoisseur for sure. Then the only ones I've watched are the ones that came out in the 70s, like Space Battleship Yamato, which turned into Star Blazers, and Gatchaman, which was Battle of the Planets, and even the Macross Robotech stuff. Those are the ones that I grew up on and liked. And there are elements of them that I still really do enjoy, but there's other elements of it, the kind of the silly faces and the wacky noises and the kind of comedic relief characters that kind of went overboard. That's what drives me bonkers about anime.
That's what Kurt hates too.
Oh,
Look at my boy. Look at my boy behind me. I am that character, Hammond, in
Wait,
real life.
Is that Shrek?
No, that's Inosuke from Demon Slayer.
I mean,
All right,
those are really
donkey.
those are really the only animes. I've also watched The Crying Freeman because I loved the movie, so I went back and did the original source material just to see what it was like. And the movie was very true to the source material, so there is that. But yeah, anime is hard because they have these, like Cowboy Bebop has this great design character that looks awesome and he's great, and then he's got the stupid cat and the kids that run around with him that ruin it.
You know what? That's fair enough.
I see you.
Thanks, Kurt.
I mean, I've got a recommendation where they don't do all the funny faces if you'd like. It's only got one season. It's the Unwanted.
You didn't let him answer, Joe. You didn't let him answer.
Well, too bad. The Unwanted Undead Adventurer. It's a cozy fantasy, but it's I like it. I liked it a lot, and the dub just came out for it, so it's only 12 episodes.
Okay,
I enjoyed it.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
Anybody here a Legend of Zelda fan?
Yes. There happens to be a sword right behind me.
Anybody here playing the new Echoes of Wisdom game where you can be Zelda?
I don't have time. I'm playing Balatro.
I'm playing that too. So here's how I do both, Kurt. I get my wife hooked on the game, and I play Balatro until she wants me to beat a boss or something, or until she wants to get a snack and lets me play for 10 minutes. But actually, I'm loving Echoes of Wisdom.
It looks great. It looks great.
Cool.
Is it a Switch game?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Switch, and it mixes because we lost the title of it. There was a
Link's Awakening.
Is that
It's the Link's Awakening engine.
Yeah. So thank you. We bought the remastered HD whatever re-release of Link's Awakening. I don't know when it came out. After Breath of the Wild.
Is that like Link going through puberty? What is that?
You nailed it. It is Juno in Switch form. 100%.
Okay. All right.
It's where he gets knocked out and basically has.
I thought you were going to say knocked up. I was so waiting for you to say knocked up.
Oh yeah,
you have no idea how close you.
I mean, it depends on who you talk to, but basically, the entire adventure happens in his head.
So, what I find the best about this game, because my wife and I, we've played and beat Breath of the Wild. We've played Tears of the Kingdom. We got to the point where we got distracted, so we're going to basically start over. We didn't beat it, but we're going to go back and finish that. We played Link's Awakening, which is a different vibe, a different engine, a different style. It was cool, but we didn't beat it. We get a quarter way, halfway through, and just like, yes, whatever. This game does have those graphics, but it mixes the two worlds. So there's areas of Link's Awakening that I recognize from that game, and there's stuff from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and those kind of things. And the fact, I'm a little disappointed. I'm a little disappointed they did not 100% just lean into your Zelda. But it's not a spoiler. It's just a little disappointment for me. But the biggest thing is the Echo. She can learn to copy things. And you get a lot. I mean, we've only played 15 hours maybe, and we got a lot. You copy enemies, and it's a strategy to figure out which enemy works best against other enemies to protect you, because you just put them out and they cost energy, blah blah blah. You copy things like trampolines and tables and beds and stuff, so you can sleep anywhere and rest, but you can also use it. I saw a TikTok before I bought this. I got one spoiler before I bought the game. It was on TikTok, and it was, I'm going to tell you guys if you play it, the bed is OP. The bed is made to defy the laws of game physics and everything, and you can basically make bridges out of them, and then you can sleep anywhere. It's a lot of fun. It's very creative in how they move you through the story, how you do side quests, a very creative blending of the Breath of the Wild style. Thank you for taking the main camera there, Joe. The Breath of the Wild style with the Link's Awakening engine. It is dungeon crawling, like, OG Legend of Zelda / Link's Awakening. You definitely have lots of dungeons to go through. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool, different things. Here's random kid. I love that. Zelda can sleep anywhere like a homeless person. Absolutely. And it has a lighter vibe to it. It's not so action driven as Breath of the Wild, those kind of things. My disappointment is there's a good reason you fight a Shadow Link, and I'll let you follow the story on all that. But you get like part of his power, and so you can go from Zelda having to figure out the puzzles. Now it is limited on power and whatnot, but you literally turn into Spirit Link with the sword and the shield, and now you're just Link for however long that bar goes if you don't turn it off. It's cool. It's a fine mechanic. But I'm like, you had me at Zelda. In fact, you had the world at Zelda when they realized this wasn't like Link's Awakening 2, that it was a whole different thing. And now you can finally, for the first time ever, truly play a game designed to be Zelda. Why
there's probably a percentage of people that would freak out going, I thought I was going to be able to play as Link.
Then do it like the first or the second one. Yes, Joe, but you don't have the game, so you don't count.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all. But I can see people complaining because that's what they do.
Yeah. And I don't remember if this is the first Legend of Zelda or the second one, but there's one where after you beat it, you could go back and it's just a skin. You were just playing as Zelda, but it's just you look like Zelda playing Link, right? Yeah. Do that then. Give me a little after game. I mean, it's fun. My wife has no complaints. I'm sure the world has no complaints. I'm not really complaining, but I was really into you did something 100% different. Okay, maybe 80% different. Still 80%, But that's what I'm nerding out about right now.
Nice.
Who has lithography?
It's lithophanes, and that would be mine. As you guys know, I just started doing 3D printing because I just got my 3D printer. And so I've been printing pretty much round the clock ever since I got the printer. While this is not a lithophane, I think you'd appreciate this, Charles. This is what I'm working on right now.
Nice. That's a Deadpool head.
Yeah, with a put it together yourself, multi-articulated action figure.
Nice.
So it's pretty awesome. And then I played around with my logo.
Ooh. Oh, nice. Very nice.
So
podcast listeners, you should definitely look at the video for this one.
However,
at 1 hour and 6 minutes.
So this is a lithophane.
Nobody gives it. Wait, that's Lithophania. Never mind.
So this is a lithophane, which doesn't look like much, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that is go for it. You put a light behind it. It's a picture.
It's a picture. So
good other way.
But it's assuming it's the background, so it's blurring.
That's true.
Blurring it because it's thinking it's background. It's thinking it's the Hulk.
There it is.
Oh, there
it is. We got enough to get the graphic.
So yeah,
100%. I forgot what it was called.
That took 24 hours to print.
I mean, it's highly detailed. It looks real good.
It's highly detailed, and so that is a Christmas gift for this year. I wanted to see how hard it would be to do and whatever. And now I started with a black and white picture to begin with, but it came out awesome. And so
do a color one next. Do a color picture next.
Well, so that's harder. And I might still do a color one, but
you have to change filaments though, don't you? Or do you have
no. Okay.
I have multi. So
I don't mean that though. When I first got into 3D printing, I discovered the lithophanes like you're talking about. Now they've been around forever. That's when I was like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
But people had used full color, but it's still that white filament. But somehow the if you model it right, the different shades come through and it makes a weird, almost like sepia tone.
Yep.
Not weird, but cool sepia tone little thing. It's really nice.
So one of the services I use literally has a section called Make My Lithophane, and you upload a picture and it converts it for you.
Nice.
So the printer that I got is 4-color, and I may or may not have a filament buying problem. Have
you gone color changing metallic filament?
No, but it's going to be coming. It's on my list.
Glow in the dark
Now-
filament.
No,
Now,
that
do you-
also is going to be coming. Yeah.
Do you have the one handy that you sent us a picture of?
I don't remember what I sent you a picture of.
Okay, I'll just hold up the picture.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Spider-Man.
I actually, it's on my wall.
I think that turned out fantastic with the multicolor.
It was
So
ridiculously
it
good.
turned out amazing.
Yeah.
Spectacular even.
Spectacular even.
Spectacular
Yep.
even,
Yep.
yeah.
I don't
Web
know.
it.
It seems like the superior print to me.
Yeah, there you go.
But yes, that came out great. And so I probably will end up doing some more superhero type things just to hang on the wall. But yeah, I'm printing a spirograph for my granddaughter right now. And I'm going to be doing a bunch of Christmas ornaments pretty soon.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't stop. I printed this portable shelving thing that somebody made, which is just comprised of these hexes, but then somebody made adapters for anything you can think of to connect to those hexes. It's crazy.
It's an addiction.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
No random kid.
Oh, it's
No
and.
random kid.
It's not. Yeah.
Big O Rando says Kurt is addicted to something other than Balatro. No, that's the next wall hanging he's going to have is that the Balatro logo.
I just beat my first gold stake.
He just plays Balatro while it's printing.
Yes.
So Hammond,
Yeah.
are you nerding out about Kurt's Lord and Savior Balatro?
I don't know what Balatro is.
He'll tell you. Oh, it's like a vegan. He will tell you, but we'll do
So
that.
that's that's the joke. What do CrossFit vegans have a problem with is trying to figure out which one to talk to you about first.
Yep. Yeah.
You have to know the joke to know the joke. But what are you nerding out about, Hammond?
The thing is I listen to you guys and I don't. I mean, I'm watching reruns of MASH. I'm still working on playing that thing behind me. And
Hammond, come here, Hammond. Listen, this would be a perfect time to talk about how you love working on your podcast and that people.
No, you've already said I don't work hard enough on it. So
I didn't say you.
Yeah, you did. You said
Yeah,
my show wasn't good. My show would be better if I put more effort into it. You did say that.
Is that not
But here's the thing.
show, sir?
Here's the thing.
What's the thing?
I've been doing Beyond the Playlist now since December of 2013. I posted a thing on Instagram, Threads, wherever, saying that I've done 733 episodes of that show now.
Amazing.
And I'm in a spot now where I am working with people who I never thought I'd work with. I'm doing things I never thought I'd do. I'm getting opportunities I never thought I'd have. And when I started this, I was still working, in the courts. I still had a basic, a job that seemed like just a job. And I am now doing things that, it's cool. But, as far as nerding out on things, I kind of have a wandering eye when it comes to nerdy things. I'll focus on something for a while. Like every New Year's, I tell myself that I'm going to learn some new skill. So one year I learned how to cross stitch. So all that year I was cross stitching. One year I decided I was going to make a stop motion film and learn how to do stop motion editing and backgrounds and things like that and work with miniatures. And I learned how to do that. One year.
This year, what are you doing now? What are you doing
right now? My thing was drawing every day for once a year.
And how's that
every
going?
day for the year. So I've been drawing one picture every day for the year.
And are you enjoying it? Is it getting better? Is it
My things are getting better. It's something I do for myself so that I can feel like instead of having New Year's resolutions be reductive and feel like you're punishing yourself, I go the other direction to learn something new. And so every year that's what I do. And that's kind of what I focus on through the year. It's whatever it is. So next year I'm actually going to document everything I'm going to start documenting things by video so that I can learn how to use Final Cut and learn how to use, motion and After Effects and things like that next year. So that's what I'm planning on doing next year.
Cool.
I thought I heard at some point one of your podcasts say what you're going to do new in the next year, instead of being a guest booker, you're going to turn around and book people on shows.
It was something someone was trying to pressure me into, and I still am thinking about it.
I mean,
I don't cave to peer pressure. I mean, I'm a
sure. No, I get that, but if it calls you his lovely lump of coal, sometimes pressure just turns into a diamond. No, that's awesome, man. Seriousness. That I get you're living it through the year, but it's new to us that you're doing it. That's a good nerding out about that. You're pushing yourself to learn, and you're doing it. You're learning new things and new skills.
I mean, to 2013, it was learning how to podcast, and Lord knows it stuck.
And now that is your day job, yeah?
Yeah. And so, I mean, in the cross stitch, I still cross stitch when I'm having a rough time. I'll still break out cross stitch and do inappropriate cross stitching. I've got some vulgar cross stitches hanging around the house.
Nice.
Oh my God. You need an Etsy store or something, man. I want to buy some of these. I want something more vulgar, but this is our show, so you'll get the gist. I want like prison sayings like snitches get stitches, but in the nice cross stitch.
No, this isn't really dirty, but I made one for my in-laws that said no Hummers in the kitchen, which has nothing to do with what I actually means, because we're talking to the dogs. So
that's
and it's a hand towel in their kitchen.
That's hilarious. Roll that dice, Joseph. Random kid says, I did not have vulgar cross stitching on my bingo card. Yeah, nobody. That's the free space.
Time for a commercial break.
All right, let's just randomly hit this one and see what this music is. Hey, everybody, you like awesome content like Hammond coming on? That ain't free, people. We got to pay people like that to come on. Join us at patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy and join our family today. And if you don't like us bringing on people like Hammond, pay us to stop. Go to patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy and join the revolution today.
See, now I'm worried that you're going to get a buttload of money because people don't like me.
Oh, like get your cut. You'll get
like the
cut.
three of you will pay just so I don't come back.
There you go. Yeah. Let's jam out for a minute. Do a little 3D stitching and vulgar cross stitching. Oh, Hammond, tell people where they can find you on the interwebs.
I can be pretty much found everywhere at JHammondC, everywhere. I don't have a Twitter anymore, but Instagram, JHammondC.com, wherever. Yeah.
Awesome, man. And as we do, we play a few speak pipes, but tonight we also have a comment off of Spotify. If you listen to the show on Spotify, you can leave comments there. I'm not sure if you can leave comments anywhere else that we'll see. I'm not sure how that works, but we publish Spotify. So it is BROESCHES. I think that is pronounced broskies. That's how I'm going to say it. Broskies. But how do you guys think that name is pronounced? Brooches? Nobody? Just me?
Broski sounds great.
All right, cool. Moving on.
And even if that's not how you pronounce it, that's all part of your brand. It's all part of your brand.
There you go. Broski's commented on the podcast that was titled Movies That Couldn't Be Made Today. The Spotify comment is this: I was at the Teens and Digital Age panel at DragonCon. You were great. Talking to Joe. Joe was on that panel, and it was amazing. And now I'm a fan of your show. Thanks for taking my question. Glad to have met and learned about you, and I hope to see you soon again.
That's
see
awesome.
you again soon. It is awesome.
And I bet it's the same one. There was one person at the Parenting in the Digital Age panel and that came to Wise and Nerdy the next day. I bet that's him.
See, you're a very positive guy. You believe that. Mylene was like, that's awesome that you met Joe at that panel the day before our live show. You don't mention coming to the live show, do ya? Do ya? You're not that big of a fan, are you, Broskies? But Broskies for life. That's what it is.
Oh man.
Go ahead, Hammond. You look like you got a bad dad joke queued. Go
No,
for it.
I was just thinking about how this is why there aren't that many fans is because you treat them the way you got to approach everyone like Joe does, and you keep people around. Hey, get more bees with honey.
You know,
you get more flies with honey.
Going back to that question about movies that influence you, Fight Club. Fight Club was a big one for me. All right, so that's how I do things.
Oh, so you have an imaginary friend that kicks your ass?
Have you met Phil?
Charles's philosophy is you catch more fish with a spear.
actually, my father-in-law had a fishing taser. So
Yeah, that's the glaive. All right, what's the price do we have?
So I meant to play this during Nerding Out, but we'll play it now. It's from Devocite.
My wife wanted to watch the Whitney Houston Netflix documentary, Want to Dance with Somebody. I wasn't all that interested at first, but ended up getting drawn into it. There's one thing they brought up, and I found it rather interesting, was the fact that not only was she a gifted singer, but she also had really good coordination.
Uncalled for.
I approve.
Uncalled for. Any other actual speak pipes from actual listeners who give a crap about us?
To be fair, that might be the best one he's done.
It was a pretty good one. If you want to leave your voice on here, head on over to wisenerdy.com/calldad, where you can leave whatever voicemail you want, but you can also answer our question of the week. We have the list of when we're going to do each question there on the website, and what we're going to announce for this time for our recording on Halloween, October 31st, the question will be, what is your weirdest / funnest Halloween tradition?
Growing up.
Wow.
That's
that was
a terrible
growing up was your
tradition.
favorite tradition?
Yeah.
Growing up was your favorite tradition?
No.
That's exactly where I went. That's exactly where I went with that too.
Yeah, punctuation matters, Charles. Punctuation matters.
All right, Scott Johnson. Look, John wins so far. John wins the Troll Award for Speak Pipes. Kurt is the grand champion, undisputed all time, for a joke that he wasted on Patreon. It's only like 4 people heard it besides me and Joe, where you talked about going to this restaurant, Kurt, and it was like a 5 freaking minutes. It's a story.
I remember that
Go
one.
on. And he's telling this story. And it's a dad joke.
Good for you, Kurt.
Yeah, well, you know, yeah, if you can draw it out, then it makes the pain even more acute.
Yeah, no, it warms the cockles of my heart knowing that you've done that.
It was so funny because Charles did not see it coming. It was great.
Charles rarely sees things coming.
Fair enough.
So weird. Why did I invite any of you on tonight? I think what the world is saying is just me doing all the voices, and you 3 are the imaginary Tyler Durden's beating me up. Here, that's so we're down to Daddy, tell me a story. And this is an adventure that I've gone through over the last couple of weeks. I won't tell. And I mean, I think Hammond with your prison experience, Kurt being in gaming, and Joe being at a big corporate shill of a. The story time is about why policies and rules exist at work. And I think anybody who knows me any period of time, I like to really just give basic guidelines, functions. Let's be human, this and that. I run an ambulance company for reference. I have about 70 employees, and every rule that went beyond the baseline, like you get a good basic HR handbook. This will cover all the legal good bases, right? And they're probably based off of somebody messing up somewhere in the past anyway. But here it is. Every rule beyond that we've had to make, like don't buy or sell drugs on our property while you're at work. is because, oh yeah, somebody bought and or sold drugs on our property while they were on duty at work. No parent time in the back of our ambulance is because that happened on. Yeah. So there's a rule.
Were the
We
lights
have a
on?
rule.
Were the lights on while they were there?
You're not helping.
On and off.
You're not helping. Look, guys, look, this is an adult show where we can behave here in front of kids. It's all good. You know, these are not 13-year-olds we're talking to. All right, we're good. It is, but you know, I like to pretend. But the policies, I actually stole this one from fast food because I'm like, that sounds interesting. Because I was having a problem at the time with younger adults in my field. I mentioned it's an ambulance company. It's not 911, but it is something that people rely on to depend on. They were going through life, whatever. Some of them would just like, oh, I don't feel like working, and they would just quit. And I'm having to put in man hours and all this extra stuff, scramble because that truck has to run. So we're scrambling to make things. It's harming the patients that we serve, those kind of things. Then I'd have people who put in their 2 weeks notice, and you just watch that roller coaster dive into the ground, right? Oh, I'm okay the first day, second shift, third shift, call out. So we
because they stop caring.
Yeah,
exactly.
They get trunky.
Hammond, you're killing me, Smalls.
Why? That's the term.
Trunky?
Yeah.
Well, in Mormon culture, yeah, it is. So what it
Kurt, did you get that either? Because that was
so what it means, at least in Mormon culture, is that so in Mormon culture you go on a 2-year mission as a young man and some young women, and they used to have trunks instead of luggage that they would carry everything around in. And so when it's getting towards the end of your mission and you're ready to go home, you're getting trunky because you just want to put everything in your trunk
and you don't care anymore
and go home.
Wow, talk about inside joke. I mean,
well,
good
Joseph got it. Joseph got it. That's all that matters.
Sometimes this is true.
Fair.
Can't rule against that one. So to let you guys weigh on this, here's the policy. And again, you're losing people. You're trying to make plans. Okay, I'll always smack this one in the face because the world loves to go, well, you know, companies don't have to fire you with 2 weeks notice. Oh, yeah, we do. I take 3 freaking months of paperwork and proving that I'm trying to get you to be a better person and train you better before we terminate you. So you're right. I don't give you 2 weeks notice. I give you, anyway, there's a balance to everything. We ended up running it past HR lawyers, getting them to refine it, but we have a policy in place that you don't have to work here. It's a private company. You choose to work here and you agree to this handbook and you sign off on it. You agree to abide by our policies because it's a little bit of a brutal one. And it has helped a lot of people because if you communicate with us, we work with you. I'm not going to stop you from going to getting the dream job that you've always wanted just because they want you 3 days from now. That I'll help with. But when you just disappear and we can't get a hold of you, we enact this policy. And it is, if you fail to give 2 weeks notice and or work it out for any reason without communicating with management, you'll be put at minimum wage for the entire time that you worked in that pay period. You still get paid because we have to legally pay you, but you'll get paid the minimums. And it is, and again, it's about communication. If you talk to us, we work with you, but it's for those who ghost, those who go, they don't show up for the shift and all of a sudden patients are late, things are happening. We just had that happen by a paramedic who, by all accounts, seemed to be a great guy, was doing a lot of good things, stepping up for us, doing well, and got a bad call. When, you know, his wife was going, the state patrol called him, his wife was in a bad wreck, going to the hospital. We backed him up. Cool. It's a paramedic. We only have one paramedic truck. That truck ultimately went down for the night because we were like, we got your back. Go take care of your wife. Go figure it out. Then he ghosted us, and then he just texted and said, hey, I'm just going to go work at Atlanta Fire and be done. All right. And we tried to call him. We tried to talk to him. Nothing. That man had earned like $5,000 in 2 weeks. I mean, he had really worked. He had really stepped up for us. I felt for him with his wife. I'm like, I've already enacted this rule. So legally, if I do not enact this rule at this point where he put in writing in a text, I'm out, I'm not coming back, done, I can get sued by other people, right? So I felt like a horrible human being. I enacted it. I was waiting for that angry, raging, horrible call when the deposit came. He never called. I mean, when we go from minimum wage from a paramedic, he went from like $5,000 to like $1,000. I mean, it's a lot of money he lost by not communicating. Felt horrible, felt bad, except our business is small. And Hammond, you might relate to this part of it. Everybody knows everybody some way. And within a week of, I mean, last Friday was payday. Today, we got word back from people that we know and trust that during that time when his wife was in ICU, we don't know because we don't go and fact check those kind of things. We trust that if you say you're in the hospital, you're in the hospital. He was actually doing orientation with another company. That was not the company he even said he's leaving us for. We're like, oh, I feel a lot less bad now that we jeopardized our contract with the hospital to back you up, but then we had to take away your money because we almost lost a truck for a whole nother day because of it. So policies are in place because people have done bad things. So the three of you, we'll let you guys wrap up this last topic. This is the last topic, so take it where you want to go, no rush. But why do you think in your companies policies exist?
I think it's to avoid legal issues and reactionary measures, just like you said. So I think that's the biggest things why policies exist.
Do y'all have any? Okay, Kurt, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're focusing on HR policies, but I got to tell you, right now, so the company I work for, we're a managed service provider, and we provide IT for small and medium-sized businesses, right? And internally for our technicians, we have policies that are, that by their very nature, SOPs, their standard operating policies, based on technical things that we do, because we want all of our technicians doing things the same way so that another technician can pick it up at any given point and continue the work. So that is a policy that's in place to enforce consistency and efficiency.
It's continuity of care
and continuity of care, no question about it.
Yeah, it's just
So there's those, but I also agree the HR end of things is largely protection. And honestly, what makes it even worse is that depending on what state you're in, those policies have to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, even locales, because I've worked in locked facilities with adolescents. I've worked in open door facilities with adolescents, and the policies of dealing with them vary greatly based on the locale, even though it's the same population in the same state. It's just there are different requirements, different rules, different ways of dealing with like violence and conflict and that kind of stuff. And you have to be fully aware, because what was good for one facility in one setting would get you in a whole heap of trouble at another one.
Yeah. My boss is very much an entrepreneur guy, and this is the biggest company like he's grown, and I'm constantly just saying, I understand why you feel that way, but you can't do that, and here's why. Because I've worked in much more corporate environments, and I know the bad stuff that can happen if you don't have those policies in place.
So does he listen to you? Does he listen to you and take it, or does he fight you on it?
He fights me on it often, but he will back down. Because ultimately we contract out to an outsourced HR company, and I said, let's at least run it by them, and he'll go, okay, and we'll get the information back, and he'll go, all right, so I guess we need to do this. I said, yeah, it stinks, but this is the reason why, and this is why. Like we just have to. Yeah. But there have been times he's just going, I don't care. I'll take my chances. I'm going, nah, you can't take your chances, man.
Yeah, whatever the name of the company is will change if you take your chances too often.
Exactly.
Too often,
exactly.
Too often, yeah. And Kurt, just for reference, Hammond, Kurt, you've known this guy forever, like y'all were childhood friends or something, right? College, something.
Well, yeah, we've been friends for like 25 years.
Yeah. So as just for people listening, when you push back like that, it's a little different when you've proven your connection to somebody.
I agree, but I'll tell you what, man. I learned pretty early on that one of my jobs as a manager or supervisor is to challenge my boss.
Okay.
Now, you don't have to be a jerk about it.
There's ways to challenge, and then there's ways to challenge. And I think
exactly,
if you come at it from a logical point of view, like a place where you've been thoughtful, where you've been pragmatic, where you're not thinking about your own self-interest, where you're thinking about the betterment of the company or even the betterment of that manager, whatever it is, you can come in and say, okay, your idea has some merit, but here's where it falls apart.
Right.
Better than just saying, dude, you're being stupid.
Right. But as part of that too, you also have to be willing to say, I disagree, but I'm in, because that's you don't have to go by my opinion.
Yep.
I'll
back you until we get sued.
Right. Right. But I mean, it's that whole people want to be heard thing.
Yeah.
It really is like, look, I've given you my opinion, and if you chose to go in a different direction, cool. I'm still here. I'm not gonna die on this hill. I'm not gonna quit because of it. But
I think the hardest part about being in a position like you're in, probably like all of us are in, is that you have to really check your ego at the door, because it's not about the good of you as much as it's about the good of the company, the good of the organization, the good of the organism that you're in. And you have to be aware of all the bits and pieces of the organism to make it work. So your ego plays almost no part in that. And if it starts to play a part in it, then something's wrong.
Well, it used to, but that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? When ego controlled a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a YouTube video that I came across, and I know we mocked the name, and it's the title of it, and it's called Get Hard, and it goes up, but it's Tony Robbins and two other motivational speakers cut together. They weren't speaking together, but talking on the same topic. It got edited together, and that principle is you got to get tough, not tough get going, but get hard on people, because your job as that entrepreneur, as that leader, is to put food on your employees' table, on the people you take care of. And if I don't go, and because you'll get that, Kurt, you're talking about 30 years ago and ego and those kind of things, and we'll get I like the person, but this is a tough conversation we have to have, or why the hardness is making sure that we are continuity, taking that the evenness across the board, that protection is making sure that we do it right so we can put food on that table. So it comes down like friendship. This is one example they literally give is a friend owns a business, and like, well, I want you to hire my business to serve your business. Like if I were to hire Kurt for the IT stuff for my company, he goes, but I need you to do this. And the friend's like, well, shouldn't our friendship count? It's like, our friendship doesn't put food on the table. It doesn't count. This is business. And that
our friendship counts. And that's why I'm telling you need to do it this way.
See, there's that too.
Yeah. Right. There is, that the friendship blade cuts both ways.
Right.
And if it's a good enough friend, then you can probably have conversations that are difficult, and they understand it's not personal, it's business. And then you can go get a drink afterwards. But at the same time, if you're bringing friends into businesses as partnerships, then you need to make sure that that's someone you actually want to be in business with, even though you might be their friend, because I'm friends with people who I would never do business with.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's nothing against them. I just know them well enough to know that their way of doing things and my way of doing things wouldn't work in a business setting. As a friend, yeah, go ahead. It's fine.
Last story from me, and then we can wrap it or whatever. That's a great point, Hammond. There's somebody that Hammond may or may not know, the rest of us know, there was a partnership thing that I had done in the past, and the way that guy talked to me was never letting me be heard, never understanding. Because part of that, Kurt, like that's how you influence your boss / friend is you hear him, you acknowledge parts of it, and like you're saying, Hammond, you bring other parts, whatever, you help guide and steer. This guy was never a partner and turned out to be not really a friend, because he would just hit me with the fear stick and tell me you just can't do that and argue and just never actually listen to what was going on. And that's a lesson I learned, Hammond. It's like business is now, and once we're done with business, even if I fire you, you want to hang out after? We're friends after we clock out, and we can go get a beer and you can cry on my shoulder. We're good.
Yeah.
And
it takes a special kind of relationship initially before you can do that. And it takes a special kind of relationship afterwards to be able to do that. Because I mean, feelings are feelings, and you can't hide them. And yes, things are going to hurt, but there are only probably a handful of people we're going to meet in our lifetimes that we have that kind of relationship with.
Yeah, random kid, just like when I fired my best friend Hugh. I mean, yeah, that was a story we won't retell now. But I know you don't hear it, but that dude's out there doing it again.
Oh,
He's out there roughing it again.
I heard it this time.
Man, what is it? It's like midnight there or something, right?
It's late. It is 10 o'clock. 10. Yeah.
Yeah, it's way past his bedtime, especially on a school night.
Oh. All right, Joe, do you have anything else to add to?
Well, I will say that having my time worked at the jail, I was once in an office that had 4 or 5 sergeants, 2 lieutenants, 3 captains, and me. And one of the guys said, "So who in here has a policy in this book written about them after something they did?" And everyone in the room raised their hand except for me. And all of them looked at me and said, "Bullshit. Sorry."
Yeah.
And I had to own up to the fact that one of the things in there was actually something I did back at the old jail. So, I mean, just because you've done something doesn't mean you're forever in infamy, or you're going to be labeled. You're just part of the learning process.
Yeah,
and sometimes owning that learning process, especially if you're training people and saying, "Hey, look, I've made this mistake and it was bad, and we all learned from it. And it's even so bad that it's in policy. And I get teased about the fact that it's in policy, and I'm still here. So you don't need to be perfect, but at the same time, you do need to learn."
Yeah. I'm sure I have that because I know my career. I'm sure I've had that. I just don't know what it is because it was written probably after I left or
yeah,
something.
they named it after you left.
Yeah,
but there's whole McFall sections of HR documents.
Oh, in fact, there was actually in the policy I signed when I worked at the jail. It actually said the McFall policy.
Makes sense.
It tracks. It totally tracks.
Yeah, you got to make sure you follow that one so you don't have a McFailure.
Oh,
well, and here's the other part about that too is when you're working in a place that has multiple levels to it. So, like, I worked for the county, I worked in the jail, I worked for the courts. All 3 of them had separate policies, but how you prioritize them where you are in location matters, and how you rank them as far as, like, what great example is if you lose your key at the jail, yes, you probably should tell your supervisor you lost your key, but the first person you tell and the first thing you do is tell jail security about it, tell jail leadership about it. And then you can tell your boss because you're working for the county at the time. So, I mean, there's priorities, and sometimes you can get really mucked up by not knowing the order of events in a situation like that.
You don't have another bad joke to follow on that, Joe? No?
I mean, if you want one, I can find one.
No! Look, everybody, we love you all.
Joke.
Thank you for coming and being with us. Hooty hoo. I don't know.
Let me go to a website. I'm pretty sure I can poach one.
Charles at Rock God of Podcasting. Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website, wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
Shut up, Mike, and P.O. by Kurt everywhere.
Can't even enjoy the end song with you guys. I don't feel hurt at all tonight.
Huh? I'm sorry, what?